Witness claims, "I saw U.S. Air Force jets chase sphere UFO over my home." Please remember that most UFO sightings can be explained as something natural or man-made. UFO researchers are investigating a report by a resident of Getty, southern Georgia, that he sighted a group of United States Air Force, USAF, jets apparently escorting, or chasing a red-orange sphere UFO across the sky at an altitude of about 600 feet. According to the unnamed witness in a testimony filed on March 4, 2017, as case 82496 in the reporting database of the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, he was stargazing with a telescope outside his home at about 10 p.m. on February 21, 2017, in Getty, a town in Tift County, Georgia, about 100 miles east of Columbus, Georgia, when he heard jet engine sounds coming from the north. He looked northwards, in the direction of the jet engine sounds, and noticed in the dark sky a row of flashing white strobe lights, and a reddish-orange ball, or sphere in the middle. The lights approached gradually at an altitude of about 600 feet until he could see that there were 6 military fighter jets that appeared to be chasing, or escorting a mysterious sphere UFO that had a red-orange color, according to Open Minds TV. "I first heard low-speed jet engines north of me," the witness stated. "I turned to see what it was. I saw a row of flashing white strobe lights with a reddish-orange ball, or sphere in the middle coming toward me, moving real slow." The witness was stunned, but he had the presence of mind to notice several interesting details about the flight. As the military jets, and the mysterious sphere UFO flew overhead, he noticed that one of the escorting jets flew about 500 feet to the west of the UFO while the other flew about 500 feet to the east. 4 other jets brought up the rear, flying at about 1,000 feet behind the UFO. He was also struck by the low altitude of the flight and the unusually slow speed of the jets and the UFO. What was so strange about it was how low and slow they were all flying, and flew directly over the top of me. He estimated the diameter of the reddish-orange sphere UFO at about 30 feet. It had no strobe lights. As the crafts flew directly overhead, the jet flying 500 feet to the west of the UFO did a banking turn to the left until it was positioned behind the sphere UFO. The witness then watched as the formation flew overhead until it disappeared behind a row of trees about a mile away to the south. The witness recalled that the UFO, and the escorting military jets continued flying southwards in a straight path until they were hidden from sight by the row of trees. The witness had thought that the crafts were flying towards Moody Air Force Base, but he later realized that they couldn't have been approaching the Air Force Base because the base was located southeast while the jets and the UFOs had flown straight south until they were out of sight. "I don't know of any airport that would have been straight south or me," he said. "Any help on this ordeal would be more than I have now." MUFON's representatives in Georgia investigated the case, and concluded that the sighting was clearly an unknown other sighting event. The investigators observed that although the witness was able to easily recognize 6 USAF fighter jets, he was unable to identify the 30-foot diameter sphere UFO. According to the witness, the sphere UFO was unlike any man-made flying craft he had ever seen. The evidence clearly leads to the conclusion that this is an unknown other sighting event, the investigators wrote in their report. However, the 30-foot, glowing, reddish-orange orb was being escorted by very recognizable jet planes. The investigators were also unable to confirm whether the pilots knew what the orb was and whether it was a USAF experimental craft. They were also unable to determine the destination of the crafts.